Recently, I started a brand new project, a directory of household essentials, which you can find on etsy.me/household_items. That's the place where you can find it on the internet. So that's a growing directory of everyday items, everything you can find in your house, room per room, activity per activity. And today I want to show you how I designed the translation section of those pages. So let's take, for instance, the alarm clock page in the directory. Let's move here, past the advertising. And we will discover all the data that we have added to the page. So the title, obviously, the moment when it was invented, the pronunciation also, which was created using Amazon Polly.
Alarm clock.
We can listen again.
Alarm clock.
Then all sorts of tags that are attached to the item, the Google Trends. So the trend is going down for the alarm clock at the moment. The description in English, also the icon, an image, and here a translation section. So when I first designed that section, I had all the information displayed straight away on the page when you landed on the page. So everything was displayed immediately. So you saw the translation of the word in German, and the translation of the description in German, in French, in Italian. So everything was displayed straight away. But I wanted to make it a bit more interesting so that you can just try to figure out the translation to see whether you know how to translate the word in those languages, and then press, click, tap on the toggle button to reveal the translation and to reveal the translation of the description. So to make it more, I would say, interactive. The purpose of today's video is to show you how I did it using dynamic content for Elementor. Which is a premium add-on that you can add to your Elementor suite. You can find that on dynamic.ooo. That's a very weird domain, but that's it. So dynamic.ooo. You've got all sorts of widgets, as you can see, and all sorts of extensions, add-ons, part of the Dynamic Content for Elementor plugin. Today, what we will use for the demo is all the functions connected to dynamic data first, the dynamic tokens also of dynamic content for Elementor, and the visibility extension, which you can find in any Elementor module once you activate the dynamic content for Elementor plugin. The first thing I wanted to tell you is that all of my pages on this website are basically templates driven by dynamic data behind the scene. So if we go behind the scenes for the alarm clock, you will see the icon, the image, but you will also see ACF fields, so advanced custom fields for all the translations of the objects and of the descriptions. So it's important to see that the translation of the object name is one field and the translation of the description is another field. And that's the whole purpose of this demo, is to show you how to display one of the fields, the description, dynamically when we press, tap, click on the toggle button which displays the object name translation. So let's go back to the page to show you what I mean. So if I click on the toggle button, you see that this word appears. That's the translation of the object itself, but also there's another section here, the description, which appears at the same time and which disappears at the same time, and you can do this for each language. If we go to the template itself, you see that I have here two modules. I have the first module, which is the toggle module of Elementor, and I have another module, which is the text editor using dynamic tokens. And we need the two modules. Why do we need the two modules? Because in the toggle section, you have a title and a body but the body can only contain one dynamic element from ACF. Here, the translation of the object name. If I want to display also the translated description, I need another field, and I need to connect in terms of behavior both fields, and that's how we will use the visibility extension of dynamic content. So the first thing for the toggle button, so I have two pieces of dynamic data. The first one is the title, which is the object name in English. That's an ACF field, and I have appended the words in German, in French, in Italian with a space in between, so that it can populate the title of the toggle section. And then I have the content, the body of the toggle section, which is the object translated in the target language, and there's nothing appended to the translation. So that's how I designed the toggle section. And then what you have to understand is that you have to go to the advanced section for the toggle button and add CSS ID, which will be unique for all the toggle sections. So we will have an ID, DE for German, FR. Here, if I go to the French module for French, IT, JAP, etc. For all the different toggle sections, we will have different CSS ID. Why do we need those CSS IDs? We need those CSS IDs to be the reference for the visibility conditions of our second part, the section dedicated to the translation of the description. So here, this section contains what we call a dynamic token. So that's part also of dynamic content for Elementor, this token concept. A token can be the title of a post, it can be a term from a taxonomy, but it can also be here a field from advanced custom field. And this is the value of my field, description DE, description underscore DE for the description in German. So this section will display the field from ACF, which has a value of description underscore German. This one will display, if I go to this other one, so I've just moved it. This can happen. Let's move it back here. Here we go. And then I go to section, and you see here, ACF column, description underscore FR for the description in French. But we need a visibility condition to display it only when we click, tap, or press on the toggle button. So we go to the visibility extension. So I enable the visibility, and I chose as a trigger events, as you can see. It's important also to activate the keep HTML part here. And then you go to event, and you will say that this will be visible only when you click on the section on the page which has a CSS ID of FR, and that's the way you display the CSS ID, as you can see. And we will have an animation which will be a slide animation, and I also activate the toggle option so that when I tap, press, click again on the toggle section, it will just close all of it. So it will hide the name, and it will hide the description. So let's come back to the demo. So if I do it here in Polish, you can see the word in Polish, the description in Polish, but if I press again here, it will hide it, as you can see. Do it in French, it will hide it, as you can see. Okay, so let's go back to our template to finish the explanations. So it's important to have a different CSS ID for all of the sections. Otherwise, if you use the same ID, you will have everything opening at the same time and everything closing at the same time wherever you press, tap, or click. That's not what you want. So you want a dedicated CSS ID for all of those toggle buttons. And you want a different rule, a different display rule for all of the other sections that you want to display dynamically. So for instance, here I have my section which contains the Italian description, and if I go to the visibility rule, you see it's the same, events, keep HTML, but if I go to events, you see that it references the CSS ID IT, which corresponds to this toggle section right here. If we go to the advanced settings, you will see that the CSS ID is IT. So you get the point. So this thing enables you to create something much more dynamic than just showing all the info straight away on the page, and you can go very creative using both the dynamic tokens of dynamic content for Elementor and the visibility extension, which you will find on all the modules of Elementor once you have activated the dynamic content for Elementor plugin. That was just one example. I could record plenty of other examples of creative ways to leverage this plugin. If you have any questions, just write them in the comment section below, and I will try to answer as soon as possible. Thank you for your attention.